This is a continuation of our last video where we did the length and the width and calculated the area and also the perimeter. But what I did here is I added a quick string called name. So in order to use a string is nothing more than a string of characters. And what that does is it allows me to enter text instead of numbers. So, but there's an issue with Cin. So let's look at that real quick. We don't need this for right now. So let me comment this out. And let's create a what is your name? And then I'll do Cin name. And then I'll do Cout your name is. Well, that sounds kind of logical. We're asking for a name, we're getting a name, and then we're printing the name. What could be simpler than that? Well, this is one of the issues with Cin. So let's click on running it. And it says, what is your name? So I'm going to type in my name. And it says, your name is, wait a minute, that's not right. That's impossible. And the reason why it's only Richard is because as soon as Cin encounters a space, then what's going to wind up happening is it's going to put in whatever the variable I'm choosing, which happens to be name, and put it into name. And whatever here is just left in the keyboard buffer. So let's just go and exit this, and let's do it a little bit differently. So let's create a string, and we'll do full name. And we'll go and do what is your name, and then let's do Cout what is your full name, or I could have put street or what city. You know what? Let's just do it this way. So, because that doesn't make sense to get a name and then ask for Seaman, and we'll do city. And then I'm going to say, where do you live? You live. And then I'll do Cin city. And then I'm going to put your name is, and then Cout you live in. So what's going to wind up happening is I'm going to type in my first name and my last name. And then what's going to wind up happening is it's going to display where do you live, but it's never going to stop at city to let me input it. The reason being is as soon as I have the space, whatever comes after the space is going to be in a keyboard buffer, and Cin looks for what's in the keyboard buffer and says, okay, well, we got something. We don't have to worry about it. So let's go here and run the program and see what we get. So I'm going to put my name in. And it says, where do you live? Your name is Richard. You live in Foster. Now, obviously, we have cosmetic issues in here. So let's go and L. It's always good to fix the cosmetic stuff right away. because it's so easy to forget. So let's go and do this again. So where do you live? Your name is, so hey, what's going on here? It never asked. So that's why you want to use Getline instead. So instead of doing Cin Getline, let's choose this. And I'm going to show you another issue when you mix Cin and Getline. So let's go, where do you live? And let's just do city equals Getline. And Getline says, well, where are you going to get it from? We're going to get it from console in. And we can just do Getline. There's different ways of doing it. So let's just, of course, Getline doesn't do it. So let's do it this way instead. All right, so we have, let's see. All right, so now I did this on purpose, and you run into a dilemma, and you're not sure what to do. You have this little thing here, Getline in there. It doesn't know where Getline is. So what we're going to do here is we're going to include string. So now we have it there. And if you're not sure how to do something, there's the book is really good. So let's just go back to the PowerPoint. And this is a great reference for you. If you go back in and look and find Getline, that will give you a really good, in here, we'll go in here, Cin ignore, Cin.get. And you could also do Cin.Getline, but we're not going to worry about that right now because this only does the Cin. So you can see how useful it is. So let's see what happens in here. And let's run this now and see if we get any better luck. So we'll do the same thing. And we still have the same issue. I don't understand. You said to use Getline. So at least we got your name is Richard is wrong. So we don't have to worry about that. We know that's going to happen because you're using Cin. So here, whenever you use a Cin and you know that there's going to be a Getline, what I'm going to do here is do Cin dot what's called ignore. And I'm going to put 100 or this. And I will explain that for you very shortly. So, and we're going to be doing this later on. So what this means is I want you to ignore whatever's in the keyboard buffer up to 100 characters, or if you get the enter key instead. So let's see what happens now when we do this. Now we got the where do you live? And we're good here. So if I wanted to do first and last name, then instead of using Cin, I would use it. But got to be careful because when you use Cin ignore and you haven't used the Cin, you're going to run into problem. So let's change this to Getline. And see what happens now. Now notice that we still have in the Cin ignore. So let's see what happens. Wait, this doesn't make sense. What's going on here? Now we have the enter key in there. Because what happened was, nothing's going to happen. It was still in there. We have the see and ignore. And it's going to sit there and ignore 100 characters. But there wasn't 100 characters in there. So it ignored, you know, it didn't get the, there was no end key. So it ignored it. So let's do this again. And let's try something different. So now we have nothing. So I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, Miami. And wow, I don't understand. What happened was it ignored 100 characters, but I didn't type in the characters. It did whatever this is, and then finally hit the enter key. So now it works. Of course, I didn't spell it right. So the rule of thumb is make sure that if you have a Cin, use the Cin ignore, and only use it after the Cin. So let's comment this out and run it again and see what happens. So everything looks good there. And now we're done. So that is it for this video on strings. Our next video, we're going to do a area and diameter of a circle.